The group was excited when they came across a man wearing a traffic vest, waving them onto this lot on Olive with a flag. He told them that they could park anywhere on the lot for just $10. The only catch, he was no more of a parking attendant than I am. Critics say it's happening because of a design change. A few years back, Trinity altered this piece called a feeder chute from 5 inches to 4 inches. It may not seem like much, but those critics say that it's enough to tighten things up and make that chute more prone to locking. Which is why the county was hesitant to talk to me. Explain to me the deal first before we close the cameras off. No, hold on. He's with me. Whether the camera's on or off, he's with me. Camera on, Jefferson County Councilor Wes Yates did talk about the vehicles. What they were most likely looking for was this master key, which was actually in a different drawer. They used it to open this door and then walked down this hallway and unlocked this door right here. And beyond that is where they found the cabinet that they pried open to get to the cards.
I have it on 61.
Still chilly by some standards, but better than off.
We can actually turn the heat on without worrying about it so much.
When I first met the McCullochs, they were sitting in the dark to save on electricity, burning wood to stay warm.
I was threatening to burn Peggy if things got any worse, so.
Peggy is
my leg. My peg leg, yes.
The one that inspired Richard to take pirate pictures after his amputation. But don't let their good attitude fool you.
We had came to the end of our rope. We just couldn't go any farther without being homeless.
The VA had apparently lost a disability claim they filed more than a year ago. They couldn't get action, so Five on Your Side made some calls.
They became our new best friends.
The people just came out of the woodwork to help us.
Through a week of forensic activity.
We were getting phone calls and people were stopping by.
It was a very amazing process.
They got the claim approved, got our tree put up yesterday.
Meaning not only monthly payments, but nearly $10,000 in retro pay.
It took a load off of us and allowed us to just kind of enjoy ourselves and relax a little bit.
And they say, hello, we saw your feature on KSDK, Channel 5 News.
Richard even got a couple of letters from our viewers.
And we wanted to send along this check to help you get through the lag time.
Viewers who appreciated his humor.
Again, we are very happy that Peggy is so supportive. She sounds like a stand-up type of gal.
The Vietnam Navy veteran is grateful for the help, but can't help but think,
if this happened to me, how many other veterans are in the same boat?
He says this show of good faith in his case makes him feel hopeful that real reform is coming to Veterans Affairs. Kyle Hamilton says he was leaving this bar on Main Street in St. Charles with some friends back in August when he looked down the road here and he saw police officers detaining a woman. He thought they were using excessive force, so he took out his cell phone and he started to record the event. I heard a pop somewhere. I wasn't sure exactly what that was, but once that trash started flying like this and that there was an advancement and it was a standoff between the two agencies. This operation involves picking up 47 people who face drug charges, but along the way, investigators found a few surprises, like this pot growing in the kitchen of one residence. Left alone, it could have brought in about $10,000 on the street. Now imagine you're driving down this steep road heading towards this intersection when your car suddenly just shuts off, loses all power. Well, it happened to Gene Anselmo. Greg Williams is on the hunt.
And every time something moves in the field of view of this camera, it's going to take a picture.
His prey, not an animal, but proof of an ongoing problem in Allerton. Idle trains in this neighborhood of about a dozen households and a motel.
It's only one way in and out.
And they park their train, blocking both crossings.
When the train's on the track, we can't leave, go or come.
Every other day. I'm not going to tell you no lie.
For like hours at a time.
Anywhere from an hour.
Super Bowl Sunday, it was about 5 hours.
It's been going on for years, these neighbors say. Norfolk Southern operates the trains, which they say stop on the tracks crossing South 37th and 38th Streets.
Just imagine got groceries, or got to use the bathroom, or even get sick. It's heartbreaking.
Not to mention dangerous.
The people who live in this community would have no access for police, fire, ambulance service at all.
It is literally a death trap.
Joanne Reed is Allerton's mayor.
We feel overtaken. I think the entire community feel overtaken.
Reed says over the years, Allerton has cited Norfolk Southern for blocking the tracks at least 10 times, but the small township has lost in court.
We've put up the best fight that we know how. And at this point, we don't have any other avenues that we can take.
5 on Your Side took the residents' complaints to Norfolk Southern. In response to our emails and calls, the company says it has put in place a new process to better coordinate train movements, with the goal of holding trains farther to the east of Allerton to avoid blocking those roads. Neighbors are hopeful, but skeptical.
They telling you guys they're gonna do it, but is they actually gonna do it?
When I see it, hey, you got it.
Meanwhile, Williams will keep his camera rolling just in case.
To let them know what happens over in this area.
A spokesman for Norfolk Southern tells me the train stopped there for several reasons, including train traffic on intersecting tracks and the need to change out crews who have worked their maximum hours for the day. Since we started investigating and making calls, we haven't witnessed the trains blocking both intersections. I'll keep on top of it to see if it stays that way. Mike Rush, 5 on Your Side. I spoke with the owner of a Corvette who kept his vehicle in immaculate condition. Take a look at it now, just destroyed by the fire. You can hardly even tell what kind of a car it is, and he just put $2,000 worth of tires on that car. In all, 13 vehicles underneath this carport were destroyed, but that's not all, because the cars on either side of the carport, well, they were damaged by that intense heat. This bench was put here in the Inwood subdivision to enjoy the pond, but for the time being, it is a front row seat to a mess. The city of Hazelwood had just condemned this side of the building. As you can see, that's still the case. If you come inside Richard Fish's apartment and go to his bathroom, you see why. The mess is still there, left from a water leak from upstairs. William Cheatham's GoFundMe site pulls out all the stops. A Ferguson business shut down because of the rioting, looting, and acts of civil disobedience. Donations needed immediately. It's time for my fellow Americans to step up. The plea sure got the attention of this group. Had you ever heard of William Cheatham? No. The heating and cooling guy, the plumber, and the contractor combined have nearly 90 years working experience in Ferguson.
We all pretty much know each other.
So do you know William Cheatham?
No, I don't.
As I asked around, nobody's really heard of him being a contractor in town.
Never heard of him?
I'd never heard of him.
Turns out neither has the state or the city of Ferguson. 5 on Your Side could not find the required licensing for Cheatham's company called Absolute Home Remodeling and Maintenance. And unlike the unmistakable loss other businesses suffered, the business Cheatham wants to relocate is based at this home in Ferguson.
He wanted money for a new house somewhere else, I guess. It's kind of how I took it.
I found Cheatham at the home.
I don't understand really what this is about.
He admits he is not licensed, although he says he was working on it. Cheatham says he was not open yet at the time of the unrest, even though he wrote on his fundraising site that the company has proudly been serving our community and the residents of Ferguson and surrounding communities. I'm not connecting. If you had, so you just opened, you didn't have a business yet.
No.
So then what are you trying to relocate if there's nothing to relocate?
The company was open. I was out seeking work.
I believe there's several others that were doing the exact same thing, just trying to jump on the bandwagon, trying to make a quick dollar.
There's a lot of people that really were impacted that won't even ask.
While GoFundMe sites can be effective, the BBB warns, do your research.
You need to know how the money is going to be used, and you need to make a decision about whether that money is going to be used effectively.
Do you think that you're maybe taking advantage of the situation to raise money for a business that hadn't even really gotten started yet?
It was started. I was in the process of starting one job when all this happened, and then the people canceled the job because they did not want anything to do with Ferguson.
While Cheatham claimed people didn't want to hire him because he was based in Ferguson, those other guys say they actually got more work because people wanted to help. Cheatham tells me he is now out of business and considering moving to Texas. If you're interested in donating to Ferguson companies, we've got a few verified fundraising sites listed under this story on KSDK.com.
When we got here, there was maybe like 5 cabinets, 6 cabinets.
It's almost as if Jennifer Gumashata is surprised she has this beautiful home. She'll quickly point out,
We really don't have a ton of money, but we got a great deal on it, and thankfully my husband's handy.
the foreclosed house in Eureka was in bad shape.
No appliances, no light fixtures, no nothing.
Jennifer and her husband, with some help from their 3-year-old son, slowly made improvements. Hail damage put roof replacement on the project list. Insurance paid for that, and in September, the Gumashatas hired a company called R-Town Roofing, based in O'Fallon, Missouri. Their first face-to-face was with
A sales claim specialist, his name was Mitch Mims.
This is Mitch Mims.
Get out my face. Get out my face.
Did you not? More on this in a moment, but first, the role Mims played in the Gumashata project. Although R-Town's owner was Cheryl Curtis, employee Mims dealt with the couple's insurance company and Jennifer says headed up the project. A few months later, in December, with the insurance check issued, they paid R-Town $10,000.
After that, we heard nothing back from Mitch. My husband called him. My husband emailed him. I called Cheryl, the president. I didn't hear anything back.
With more than 20 complaints, R-Town lost its BBB accreditation and has an F rating. And court records indicate the company has been sued by others for breach of contract. One dismissed, another pending, and one resulting in a judgment against R-Town. 5 on Your Side discovered Cheryl Curtis began the process with the state of closing down R-Town in October. 2 months later, she accepted and cashed the Gumashata's check.
Yeah, that's a shocker. We didn't know that.
On the phone, Mitch Mims told me to contact R-Town's lawyer, but would not tell me who the lawyer was. I mean, it may as well be talk to Bigfoot because I don't have a number or a name. Cheryl Curtis never returned my repeated calls, and nobody answered at her address. On another attempt to find her, I caught up with this Lexus with R-Town plates. I thought I might have finally found Cheryl Curtis. Hey, Mitch. Instead, Mitch Mims was driving the car. We want to talk to you about the Gumashatas.
Got nothing to say to you.
But Mims kept talking, distancing himself from the Gumashata project, saying he was only an R-Town employee. While we can't confirm the Lexus with the R-Town plates belongs to Cheryl, we do know that on state records, both Cheryl and Mitch claim the same address in High Hill.
I already told you all I got to tell you.
And 3 days after Curtis began the process to dissolve R-Town, records show Mims put his name on a document to form another business called Absolute Restoration. And what about your new company, the Absolute Restoration? What's that got to do with all that?
That has nothing to do with all this.
Yeah?
Has nothing to do with all this.
But the lawyer representing R-Town told me R-Town, because it was shutting down, planned to pass the Gumashata's roof job to another company. You guessed it, Mitch Mims' Absolute Restoration, a plan the Gumashatas knew nothing about. Mims tells me the timing of the start of his business and the closing of R-Town is just a coincidence. Jennifer doesn't buy it.
I think that at this point they knew the company was gone, and I think that they're just trying to get as much money and dump it into their new company.
Cheryl Curtis recently sent the Gumashatas a refund check for less than $4,000. She claims that since the original contract was signed in September, the Gumashatas broke the contract, leading to an almost $6,000 penalty. R-Town's lawyer calls this a civil dispute over a contract, but the couple reported Curtis to Eureka police, who tell me they're investigating this as a crime.